Hey everybody, the Irish Demon here, and this is a short excerpt from last night's live stream where I had an auditor by the name of American Press Corps come on the show and get confronted by myself and Blue Bear. Now, we were actually reviewing his video during the show, and if you want to check that out, you can check out the live stream. It'll be linked down below. But here's a short excerpt where he is basically harassing a gentleman who's just sleeping in his car minding his own business.
So we're at Crate Barrel, right? I'm just
Sir!
wandering around. I look over my left shoulder. I see this Middle Eastern dude
Sir!
on this carpet. Now.
Sir,
Yeah.
I don't say anything, okay?
what is wrong with you?
What?
What is wrong with you?
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
You're incoherent. I'm trying to wake you up. You're not.
I'm asleep, sir.
Why are you asleep?
Why can't that be
In
asleep apart?
behind the wheel, in
Oh.
front of the parole office.
Why can't that be asleep? I'm parked.
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong
Who
with
do you work for? Do they know that you're drunk?
What is drunk? Are you crazy?
You got to be drunk,
Are you
or on
crazy?
pills,
Are you crazy?
or both.
Are you crazy?
No, I'm not.
So yeah, you can see what we're dealing with here. So I reached out to the guy and I asked him if he wanted to come on the show to have a conversation, and thankfully he did come on, and this is the result. Let me know down below what you think.
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us. And I gotta say, it's been said here in the side chat that, you know, usually whenever I ask anybody to come on, especially if it's somebody whose video I'm reviewing, they tend to not want to because they're afraid of, you know, being called out or whatever. So anyway, let's just cut straight to the chase. So you're down there in Corpus Christi area, is it?
Yeah. Corpus Christi.
Oh, okay, cool. So I was reviewing your video, and my whole thing on this channel is I try to have the most reasonable position possible, and I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and all the rest of it. So what I would ask first and foremost is, so why did you choose that parole office to audit?
I'm hearing some
Say that again?
overlapping.
Oh, you might. Do you have my stream open on another device or something? Maybe it might be doubling up.
Okay, yeah, I fixed it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you sound much clearer there as well. So the question I had for you first and foremost anyway was, so why did you choose that parole office to audit?
Well, it's the only one in Corpus.
Okay. And so you mentioned that there was some reports about the lady Miss Montoya and things like that. Where did you come across those reports? Is it just through word of mouth or?
It was on the Google reviews.
Oh, okay. So the main Google page for the thing. All right. Okay. That's fair enough. So let me ask you this. So do you honestly, and I'm just trying to be as reasonable as I can here, do you honestly think that going down there with the camera and, you know, acting the way you did, do you think that that was the best way to deal with it? Or was there another ulterior motive there?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of different opinions on what, you know, people think is proper or improper. And I respect anyone's different opinion than mine. But the goal is to keep our public officials accountable, okay? And also, you know, sometimes polite interactions are common, okay? Whenever you audit, say, a government building and you give them something other than a polite interaction, that is a true test of their professionalism. It's a true test to see if these people are going to maintain composure and deal with the public, because not everybody's going to be polite. Not everybody's going to be rude, okay? So sometimes when you do an audit, you know, being polite, sure, that's one style. And I have some of those videos as well. But sometimes you need to be a little bit harsh, because it is the offensive words that need to be protected more than compliments.
So I absolutely agree with you on that in terms of, like, I strongly believe in freedom of speech, like 100%. I think it's really important. But the situation here, and I mentioned this earlier on the stream, like when you're talking about, for example, police officers, they're kind of used to dealing with people who are aggressive or people who are difficult to deal with. But when you've got some nice ladies, I mean, I have no idea how old you are, but I'm guessing you're around my age, like 30s, right? Those ladies were like the age of our moms, right? And if that was my mom sitting there being spoken to like that, I know I wouldn't be too fucking happy about it. Like, you know, it's kind of, to me, it seems to defeat the whole purpose of going out there and having a reasonable audit.
Yeah, and to be honest, I would never speak to these women like that. I would never disrespect anyone like that. I'm honestly a polite, nice person. However, like I said,
to be, yeah.
In the course of an audit, sometimes personalities need to be tested. Things need to go a little bit bumpy in order to see the true reaction of people and how they will respond to someone that is maybe a little bit brash or a little bit abrasive. They need to maintain their professionalism and still, give me documents or anything like that I would request. You know, just yesterday I posted a video where I was at the library and they shut the entire library down just for filming. And it was a beautiful library. So structurally and just aesthetically, people want to see that. That's our public, it's our public building, so we have that right. And, when people react to the camera in that way, it gives a true reaction so people can see that. And it also educates them to let them know that photography is not a crime.
Sure, that's fair enough. But so I haven't watched that video yet, right? But let's say if I was to watch that video now, and I can't do it on the stream while my computer doesn't allow me to do it. But did you act like calmly and chill, and all you were doing was holding a camera, or were you acting similarly to how you were acting in this most recent video?
No, the parole office got a little bit ghetto, if you will. It got a little bit rough because, to be honest, I was kind of on a 10 because I'm going to the parole office and, they're felons, they're ex-cons or whatever, So, I was already heightened. But no, when I went to the library, and most of my audits, they're all polite. Like if you saw the video where it says security guard got wild, had to put him down, I was the most polite, in fact, people in the comments were saying that I was too soft, So the very next video, I said, okay, well, people were saying I was too soft. That was my very first video. So I went to the parole office and just kind of stepped it up a little bit, on the assertiveness and things of that nature. The video I'm telling you about with the library, it was all professional. It was all polite. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That's not very polite, sir. When they were, slinging stuff my way. And that's the way most of my audits are going to be, professional and calm. However, sometimes, like I said, sometimes it is necessary to be a little bit more abrasive to get a true audit, a true reaction to how people are going to respond and how our public officials should act.
Okay, I mean, I can see where you're coming from there, but like when you're talking about public officials, right? And we had this gentleman asleep in his car. Now, you started throwing accusations straight away that he was high or drunk or that he was on pills. Did you really believe that?
At first, honestly, I thought that he was like on pills because like if you watch the video, which you did, I'm like, hello, sir. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back to him. I come back, he's still passed out. So I'm like, man, what's going on? This guy is a very deep sleeper. And I give him that. Some people are just deep sleepers and that's cool, But honestly, if you ask me a question, I really did think he was messed up at first.
And at what point did you start to change your mind about whether or not he was intoxicated?
I guess whenever he was kind of coming at me, his voice, he didn't really seem too slurred. Okay. He was kind of like wanting to toggle with me, trying to box me a little bit.
But that was about, let's say, for argument's sake, just throwing a number out there. That was about 30% of the way through your interaction with that guy, roughly, when he got out of the car the first time. And like, I've dealt with a lot of drunk and high people in my job when I was doing doors and stuff. He didn't appear in any way intoxicated to me, but so would you say roughly about a third of the way through your interaction with him, you felt that, okay, maybe he's actually not high or drunk?
Well, at that point, I honestly, I was past that, and it was something I would tell him, to see how he would react to these accusations, him working under the official capacity as a city employee.
But he's not a city employee, though. He works for a non-government organization, which is the Phoenix Transport place. They're like it's like a charity.
Yeah. Well, he had some
He
type
doesn't
of
work for the city.
He had some type of city sticker in the back. So I was under the impression, if that's true, then that's true. But I was under the impression he was under the capacity of like a public servant.
We zoomed in on the sticker from the video, and what it seems to be is it's like a sticker that they use for taxis and Ubers, and like in his case, I think they ship around disabled people who can't get around by themselves. So he's actually working for an NGO rather than for a city organization, whatever. But even so, right? So you were just saying how at the start you thought that he was maybe high or drunk or coming down or whatever, and then later on in the interaction, you maybe changed your mind at some point that maybe you didn't think he was high or drunk or whatever, because you were saying that he didn't seem to be slurring his words, right?
Well, his reactions to the initial accusations, it kind of spun off from me thinking he's drunk and high to, seeing how this guy's gonna react. I mean, this guy's wanting to fight, So, I mean,
sure.
It kind of,
is it fair to say
the attention switched to other things.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
To see how he would react rather than actually thinking he was high.
Well, I mean, hey, he could have been hungover, and who knows?
He could have been. But
yeah,
but what I'm trying to get at, and this is why it's important, because I wanted to, because the two things you said that I wanted to kind of clarify. So at first, fair enough, the guy did not wake up when you were hitting his roof and stuff. I know I probably would have woken up straight away because I'd be a fairly light sleeper. So at that point, you had reason to believe that he might have been intoxicated or whatever, and that's fine, right? I accept that. But let's say then you mentioned that it switched from being you actually thinking that he was high to you seeing what his response would be because you were under the impression that he was a city employee.
Yeah.
So you didn't really at that point, you realized that he wasn't actually high, but that you just wanted to see how he'd react being what you thought was a city employee, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the way he initially reacted, just prompted, us going back and forth,
Yeah.
After a while, he may not have been seeming like he was drunk or high or whatever like that. But definitely at first I did think that, and then as the interaction continued, it kind of spun off from, his behavior, how he's reacting to me, compared to, him being drunk or high, it kind of, the focus switched and it changed to his behavior.
And so like from your perspective, once the focus switched, and this is the point I'm just trying to get to, because it's important for how we look at these situations and holding people accountable. And I agree, that's very important to hold people accountable. Now, fair enough, you say that you didn't know at the time that he isn't a city employee. That's fine, right? That's a fair enough thing, right? That, we all make mistakes or whatever. But what's important to me is the point at which you realize that he's not actually drunk or high, but I'm still going to see how he reacts just because he's a city employee.
Well, I mean, definitely I would have to say that, I mean, his reaction and what I do to produce and make content, his reaction is what has me interested in him. At first it was Miss Montoya, and that changed whenever the guy who I, looked to be drunk or high, came into the picture. And, whenever he came into the picture, everything changed. The
Yeah.
focus went from Miss Montoya to, this guy wanting to get in my face and, wanting to fight it out.
So if let's say we were to go back in time to that moment and I was standing there, not a cop or anything, and I was to ask you after the interaction was over, let's say, if I was to say to you, okay, between you and me, do you really still think that he was drunk or high? What would you say to that?
No.
Okay. So finally we got there. And here's the important question. So if at that time, towards the end of the interaction with him, you didn't actually think he was drunk or high, as you had maybe reasonably done at the start, why did you still tell the police that you believed he was drunk or high? Or in fact, to quote you, you said something to the effect of, he's drunk and high, he's on pills. That's surely filing a false police report, though, isn't it?
Oh, well, I didn't file any false police reports. But,
no, but I mean, you reported to the police officer that you said that he was drunk, that he was high, that he was behind the wheel, that he was a danger to the public.
Yeah. The reason why I said that,
I knew we'd get there eventually. I was just trying to get to that point. Yeah, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, is what I'm saying.
No, that's fine. The reason why I said that is because, the interaction was fresh. Okay. My initial thoughts were that he was drunk and high. When you asked me, at what point did you realize he wasn't drunk and high? That's all post video. At the time, I wasn't thinking about, well, I don't think he's drunk and high now. I'm not going to tell the police that. No, I told the police what I initially thought. I told the police my initial accusations, him getting in my face, all that, interaction, trying to fight me and stuff like that, had me on a mode, in a different mode. You know what I mean? So, me saying that to the cops, I was just kind of basically reiterating my initial complaint with him.
Okay. So what we'll turn to then from that, just to kind of spin from that one. So so that's why I asked specifically if we were to go back to that moment. So you're saying more so that it's in retrospect from this moment in time rather than at the time of the video that you realized that he clearly wasn't drunk or high.
Correct.
So now I'm going to be honest with you because that's how I roll over here. I feel like you're only saying that now because I brought up the fact that you reported it to the police afterwards. Even though I think that you knew full well that he wasn't drunk or high. And now you're going back on it a little bit and trying to say that it was retrospective. That's just, I'm just being reasonable here. That's how it looks to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you asked me the question and that was the best way I could answer it.
Oh, that's fair enough. No, that's fair enough. I'm just giving you my view on it. Now, from this moment in time, right, let's just bring it to the present, looking back. Can you say, first and foremost, do you think he was drunk? Yes or no? From now looking back, let's forget about in the moment. From this moment in time looking back.
No, I don't think he was drunk.
Okay. So now let's turn to your channel. You still have it up here. There's 11,000 views at the moment on it. It's been up there for 5 days. It says drunk public employee. So that's drunk. We can agree he's not. I think that's any reasonable person looking at that would say he's not drunk. And we also know for a fact that he's not a public employee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
those were my initial assessments. And my initial assessments were that he was drunk and he was high. And when it comes to making a thumbnail, like anyone else, that you put information that's in the video so that way people can get a description as to what's going on in the video. And in the video, I did say that. And so that's why I put that on the thumbnail.
So clickbait, really?
Well, I wouldn't say it's clickbait because I did say that he was drunk and high. And so I put what I said about him on the thumbnail.
Which you knew not to be true afterwards. Whatever about the public employee part, you knew he wasn't drunk.
Well, here's the thing. After watching the video, you can make your own assessment if he was drunk or not. And he didn't seem to be drunk, but I did think he was, and I did say that he was in the video. I said that he was drunk and high in the video. Therefore, I just said on the thumbnail what I said in the video.
So what gave you the impression that he was drunk or high? Just the fact that he
just
was
the unresponsiveness, like I said, there's passed out, there's crash, but this guy was just, like banging on the thing, hello, sir, unresponsive. And, I've, I can't lie, we've all probably have been there at one point or another, so, you can recognize and see that when somebody is like, asleep, passed out, and then there's incoherent, unresponsive, and that was my assessment.
Okay, but I suppose it still doesn't negate the fact that your thumbnail, fine, right? So it says drunk and high, shake my head, is it? And a picture of the man asleep in his car, and then you see the title which says drunk public employee, and we know he is neither of those two things now.
Turns out.
It turns out. And like I put it to you, and now I'm not a lawyer, I'm a paralegal, but I spent a lot of time working in court, so I'm used to this. But I put it to you that you knew that he wasn't drunk before you probably posted this video, first and foremost. And further to that, I put it to you that you knew that by putting this thumbnail and this title that you would get more views because people would just click on it thinking that what you're saying is true, even though you knew it wasn't true.
Well, what I put on the thumbnail is what I said in the video. So, I mean, the viewer can then make their own determination as to what goes on.
You could have even put something like drunk public employee with a question mark, as it say, is he drunk? Is he not? Maybe, who knows? You decide.
Yeah, maybe I should change the thumbnail.
I mean, something like that. I'm not saying you have to. I don't care. But I'm just saying, from looking at it here, no, I don't care what you do, because it's up to you what you do with your own channel. I'm not going to.
Okay, you're just asking me about it then.
That's all. I'm just asking just to get an understanding.
Yeah.
And so if I say had a thumbnail, let's say I came across somebody that I thought was drunk or high, and it turned out that I was completely wrong, right? Like the guy, first of all, isn't drunk or high, and second of all, isn't a public figure or public employee or whatever the case may be. I will find it hard to post that video in good conscience, knowing full well that I'm going to plaster this guy all over YouTube, claiming that he's drunk and high. Like, who knows who could see this? Like maybe one of his family members or a friend, or he's going for a future job and this pops up and the person believes it. Like, can you see the potential damage that can cause to somebody in the long run? Like,
well, I was just stating in the thumbnail, I was just stating what I said in the video. What other people will think about him or his character, that is their own opinion. I just film the reaction, and then you as a viewer can then decide, what was real or what wasn't. And all I did was say what I accused him of, and what I accused him of was being drunk and high, and that's why I put that on the thumbnail.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's fine. But let's say, so the dispatcher came and she was having none of it. She was on his side. But let's just say, for example, somebody saw this video, rings the dispatcher, and says, "Hey, I saw this video of one of your workers passed out drunk in the car, blah, blah, blah." And then this guy loses his job because of a video you posted on YouTube for views. Is the video monetized?
I need to set that up. I haven't done that yet. I just hit, the threshold.
Okay.
So I still need to set that up, but to be honest, I don't want him to get in trouble. His dispatcher went out there, confirmed that it wasn't like that.
Sure, and that's good that she did, because it cleared the whole thing up for him. But in a situation where, let's say you're out there tomorrow and it's a different company or a different situation, and the dispatcher just believes what you say, or just believes what some random that watches your video says, because you got his name, you got his image, you got his vehicle registration, his company name. Like that could cause him, like this guy could have a young family that he's trying to feed. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy could have a lot going on. Maybe he has to work 2 jobs and that's why he slept in his car. And the effect
absolutely.
that your video could have.
I definitely don't want anything bad for him to happen. No.
And like, it would be grand. I'd be totally okay with it if it was a situation where the guy was passed out drunk and was putting people's lives at risk. I'd be like, yeah, fuck this guy. Like, you know, he deserves to get in trouble for that shit, putting everybody's life at risk. But in a situation where you know that he isn't drunk or isn't high, like surely if he was drunk or high, the police officers would have enough experience to be able to realize that that's the case. God knows I've been, you know, breathalyzed and stuff many times and I don't even really drink. Very rarely I'd have an odd bit of whiskey or whatever. Yeah. And so they would know. And so they're looking at this guy. There's 4 or 5 of them there. They can tell straight away if the guy's drunk or not. Now, you said at one point that you smelled crack in the car. Was that true?
No, that's just, I was just messing. Just messing around for the video. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what crack smells like?
No.
No, neither do I. So it was just somebody asked that earlier.
It was just to be ridiculous. Yeah, it was just to be outlandish.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's to be kind of shocking or whatever.
Yeah.
But and that's I get that. I understand that, right? I used to do stand-up comedy, so I understand being shocking and how important that is. But in that context, but if you're standing there and you're saying, "I smell crack in this man's car," and somebody let's say you delete your video tomorrow, right? For argument's sake, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. It's totally up to yourself. But I'm just saying, let's say you did, but somebody screen grabs somebody that doesn't like this guy, let's say, who happened to recognize him in your video, screen grabs a part of you saying, "I smell crack in this guy's car," and then shares it all over Facebook or whatever. Now, he's probably not going to get fired for it because his dispatcher knows the situation, but people that know him, you know, could change their view of him. A future employer, you know, the guy could be on parole, let's say, and he could get in trouble for it. You never know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the potential for damage is so big for, you know, 11,000 views. That's awesome. Like, how old is your channel?
Days
20th
old.
of September. Like that's, I must say, honestly, I've never seen a channel get that many views so quickly. We can tell because we look into these kind of things quite a bit, whether or not it's real or fake views, but you have hundreds of comments on those videos. So, I mean, it does appear to be organic to me. So obviously you have something that people want to see. I would say that what I would call, and this, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what I would call as a clickbait image and a clickbait title, because we know both of those things not to be true, even though I know what you're saying. It's like, this is what I said in the video, but what you said was wrong. And I think you acknowledged that what you said was wrong. I mean, from speaking to you here right now, I haven't watched your other videos, and I'm going to hand this over to Blue Bear for a minute because I know he's got some questions. And then, if you don't mind, some audience members just want to ask a question as well, question here or there. But like, from speaking to you now, right, you seem to be really well spoken, articulate. You're obviously passionate about it. If you're willing to go out there with a camera and put yourself out there like that, I would be too embarrassed to do that. Like, you could do this in such a different way, like the way Ironton Auditor does it. And people, I've always said that filming police in a situation where, you know, they need to be filmed, like roadside stops or wherever there's potential for harm or whatever, and then it needs to be looked at. I'm all for that. I've always said that in this channel, and people have left this channel because I've said that. And you know what? Good riddance to them. But this kind of style, it always ends up the same way. Any channels that do this stuff, they always end up failing in the long run. And
no, I understand. And I just want to say this. I do have to go right now to pick up my wife, but I want to say that I respect you. I do respect your viewers and their opinions. I want to apologize if I offended anyone or the thumbnail was offensive. I definitely, you know, that's not my intent. My intent is just to report, and I'm brand new at this. Okay. Please, you know, I'm going through the growing pains. Like I said, it was my second video ever. So I implore you to please look at my other videos, my most recent one, especially with the library. It was professional. It wasn't, it wasn't like,
Okay, I will
trying to
do that.
agitate
I
people. It
promise
was
you I will.
all legit. It was all just,
So how about we do this, right? How about we do this? I'll watch that video tonight before I go to bed, and maybe we can catch up in the next couple of days and do another stream and just compare the two and have a chat about it. I know you mentioned you need to go. Can you just give a couple of minutes to Blue Bear just so he can ask a couple of questions, and then we'll love you and leave you, and we'll see you in the next live stream. Would that be all right?
Sure, I probably won't be able to elaborate, but yeah, I really do have to go. So if you could,
no problem. I'll hand it over to you, Blue Bear.
I've just got a couple questions. You were saying that you, in your opinion, you thought this guy was drunk or high. What training, or I guess what training do you have to make that assumption?
Official training
or experience?
Oh, experience?
Experience or training to make that assumption?
Yeah, just a lot of life experiences.
Okay, so you've probably been down a bad road. You made some wrong turns along the way.
Sure.
Okay. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm an active law enforcement officer. Okay.
So is my dad.
And, okay. So with that being said, you are making an assumption and videoing this as you thought it was your First Amendment right. Now, put the shoe on the other foot. How would you react if this same gentleman and you had reversed roles and put the shoe on the other foot?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I would probably be more amused and humored by it than his reaction, which was to kind of, respond in a aggressive type of violent type way. But me personally, I would kind of just laugh or, just kind of joke back with the person and just kind of dismiss any aspersions or accusations of that nature.
Okay. So with that being said, and I'm not giving you legal advice here. Let me put that disclaimer out there. Okay. But in my opinion, this gentleman with your video may have some type of civil legal recourse with you.
Okay.
Now listen, based upon the fact that you have now admitted that you do not think he was intoxicated at the time, and now that you know for a fact that he is not a public employee, but an employee of a nonprofit organization that is a private company. Now, I'm not telling you what to do with your channel. You can do this. You can do what you want with it. But you might want to consider changing the title to that video.
Okay.
And maybe doing some retractions.
Yes, sir.
Or doing another video to retract some of the statements that you've made now that you know some of the facts. And possibly, apologize to this gentleman. Okay. I know the First Amendment gives you right of, freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom to film in public. I understand all that.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to hurt anyone.
Okay. But think what I'd like for you to do. And I'll be more than happy to come back when you have more time and we can dive deeper into this. Or you can come to my channel and we'll talk.
Sure.
I don't have a problem at all with that. But think of the implications that your video has on this private citizen and how it may have interrupted his rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, Mr. Blue Bear, I do have to go. And I do want to say that I respect your opinion, sir, and you're absolutely right. And I definitely don't want to hurt anybody's career, job, who they are as a person. Like I said, it was my second video. I'm trying to, maximize my efforts here. And, with the thumbnail, I just basically put on the thumbnail what I had mentioned in the video. But you're right. I don't want to hurt anybody. I definitely, I wouldn't have a problem with possibly changing the thumbnail. So yeah, I think that progress has been made here with this live, and I've learned something. Much love to Mr. Irish Demon. Much love to you, Mr. Blue Bear. I do look forward to talking with you guys further. So yeah, hit me up, check out my other video, and get back to me. Okay?
Will do.
Okay.
I will do.
Well,
I'll drop you an email.
One thing I'd like for you to do real quick. Take a look at Ironton Auditor.
Okay.
Okay. Watch some of his videos and the way he does what he does.
Okay.
Now, with you being new to this, and if it's what you want to do, make sure you go the right way and not the wrong way.
Yes, sir.
So take a look at some of his videos. In my opinion, I think he does it the right way.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right,
Thank
man.
you,
You
guys.
take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
As you can see, it went pretty well. And the guy seemed to be really nice, as one can be after doing something like that to a guy that's just sleeping in his car. It was very obvious to me that this guy was just doing this whole video for shock value. I tried very, very hard to get it out of him, essentially, and he basically admitted just that. This goes to the bigger problem with a lot of these First Amendment auditors, and hopefully it'll be interesting to have a chat with him again in the future. Now, I went back to have a look at the video, and as you can see from this image, the video has in fact been removed. Now, I wasn't trying to push him to do that or anything. We were just trying to show him the error of his ways. Another thing that I was really focused on there, and I tried really hard to get him there, and it took a while for him to kind of give the answers that I was looking for, the answer that I knew to be true, because I felt like he kind of figured what I was getting onto. And that was why he said that the guy was drunk and high for most of the video, and then he told the cops that he also felt that the guy was drunk and high. But he admitted to me, in a kind of a very roundabout and very guarded way, that he knew full well during the interaction that the guy wasn't drunk or high, so he lied to the police about the guy. Anyway, folks, if you'd like to see more of these kind of interactions, do let me know. I'd be very interested to hear what you feel about this kind of thing. And with that, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I might be taking a day or two off. I'm still feeling pretty sick, but we'll catch you in the next one, and sláinte.